Also, despite the fact that it is a large sport utility vehicle SUV, the Kia Telluride continues to be a competitive challenger in the market for passenger vehicles that feature 3 rows of seating. This is the case even though the Telluride is a sport utility vehicle. On the other hand, this is the situation. Even though it is a sport utility vehicle, the fact that this is the situation that occurs does not change the reality of the situation. In spite of the fact that it is an SUV, the fact that this is the case does not change the fact that the situation is already taking place. Currently, the situation is going place as expected. Since the day that it was initially presented to the general public, the family hauler has been able to maintain its stunning beauty during its whole existence. This has been maintained throughout its entire existence. This is something that it has been able to achieve ever since it was initially shown to the general public with the intention of being used. Additionally, as a consequence of the alterations that Kia has made over the course of the previous few years, the firm is now in a position to compete with the most amazing SUVs that are currently available on the market. The current circumstance is a perfect example of piling insult on top of harm. This is a huge step forward for Kia, taking into account everything that has been taken into consideration. The interior, which is not only spacious but also pleasant, and the construction, which is normally extraordinarily long-lasting, are 2 of the most appealing characteristics of the product. One of the most appealing aspects is the interior. When taken together, these 2 qualities contribute to the overall appeal of the product. Not only is the inside roomy, but it also features a lovely array of furnishings and accessories. In the event that these 2 qualities are taken into consideration, the total appeal of the product is boosted by the combination of these 2 traits. Not only does the interior have a lot of space, but it also has a wide variety of furnishings and accessories for you to pick from. The total attractiveness of the product is boosted in the event that these 2 features are taken into consideration. This is due to the fact that the combination of these 2 characteristics is present in the product. Every single one of these characteristics is not only deserving of the utmost respect, but they are also of the best possible quality that a person could ever possess. This is the case for each and every one of these attributes. There is a possibility that the overall appeal of the product will be enhanced if these 2 aspects are taken into consideration. Considering that the product possesses both of these characteristics, this is the outcome of the combination of these 2 characteristics that are present in the product. However, the SXX Pro grade of the Telluride is not only an upgrade that can be purchased separately, rather, it is an advancement that takes the car to an entirely new level of performance in comparison to other vehicles that fall into the same category. Because of this upgrade, those who are interested in purchasing the product now have the option to do so. Availability has been increased as a result of the implementation of this upgrade. Persons who have expressed an interest in acquiring the product now have the chance to do so. Hence, the availability of the product has been increased. Even though our ultimate car rankings place the Kia at the top of its category, there are a few restrictions that prevent it from being proclaimed the winner of its category. These limits prevent the Kia from being chosen as the winner of its category. Since these characteristics are present, the Kia cannot be considered the winner of its category because it does not meet the requirements. The constraints that have been imposed make it impossible to designate the Kia to be the winner in its category. This is because of the limitations that have been created. However, as a consequence of these deficiencies, the Kia is unable to establish itself as the victorious challenger in the competition for the title. In spite of the fact that this is the case, the Kia continues to hold the position of being the best automobile in its category according to all criteria. The fact remains that this is the case regardless of the additional conveniences that are offered. In spite of the fact that it is expending every conceivable effort to fulfill its aim of winning the championship, the Kia is unable to accomplish this goal because of the challenges that were discussed previously in this paragraph. On the other hand, the Telluride is only available with a single-engine option, which is a vehicle that is equipped with a multi-cylinder engine. The only arrangement that has any chance of being successful is this one. There is just one engine choice that can be chosen, and it is the one that is currently available. It has an efficiency that is nearly similar to the average in terms of the quantity of fuel that it consumes. In addition to this, it is the sole engine option that may be chosen from the options that are offered. The mechanism that folds the seats may be difficult to use for some individuals, and the seats in the third row are so crowded that they are not pleasant to sit in. In addition to this, the mechanism that folds the chairs could be difficult to operate. It is highly probable that there will be individuals within the population who come across difficulties when attempting to make use of the process. In addition to this, there is a possibility that the mechanism will not function properly for certain individuals. This is a risk that cannot be ignored. It is also important to take into account the likelihood that the mechanism that folds the chairs will be rather expensive. This is yet another issue that has to be taken into consideration. It is necessary to take into consideration this additional aspect of the situation. This not only adds insult to injury, but it also adds to the fact that the mechanism that folds the seats might be difficult to use for certain individuals or groups of people. This is a very unfortunate circumstance. This presents a challenge for them because it will make the situation far more challenging for them. Given the information presented above, it is of the utmost importance to take into consideration the fact that there are individuals who consider the system to be a source of discomfort. Taking into account this extra worrying that has been brought up is something that should not be ignored and should be taken into consideration seriously. The fact that we are able to make use of any of the Telluride's qualities is something that we are very pleased with, despite the fact that the Telluride is subject to a large number of limitations that are associated with the functionality that it possesses. Following the completion of a comparative test that comprised 7 distinct criteria, it was determined that the Hyundai Palisade and the Telluride were the vehicles that came in second place. The completion of the review led to the realization of this conclusion, which was reached as a consequence. Following the completion of the study, this was the result that was arrived at. This conclusion was arrived at as a result of the findings of the examination being taken into consideration, which led to the conclusion being made. This conclusion was produced as a result of the findings of the examination being taken into consideration, which ultimately resulted in the conclusion being produced. Both of these autos were manufactured by Hyundai, a Korean automobile manufacturer. Hyundai was responsible for the production of an automobile. Hyundai was the company that was responsible for the production of the automobile that was manufactured. In addition to being the company that was responsible for the invention of both of these products, Hyundai was also the company that was responsible for the manufacturing of both of these items in the event that Kia does not make any adjustments to the Telluride that are pertinent to the year 2026. This configuration of the car will continue to be the one that is used.